Welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast. I said welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast with Andy, Ruther, and Praino. Welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast.
Welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Andy Ruther, coming to you live from Cincinnati, Ohio, with my co-host from Toronto, Canada.
That's right.
No Joe Praino.
Hello, Andy.
What are you doing in Canada? You're actually not that far from me, which is crazy.
I know. Just visiting. Just a quick trip. A non-business trip, a non-comedy trip, although for Canadian dirtballs, for Toronto dirtballs, for I guess like Buffalo dirtballs or whatever. I don't know. There's a bunch of places that are kind of close to here. I'm trying to add potentially a show this weekend if you guys want to come. So just keep your eye on my social media, or if you're listening to this and you're like, oh my God, I would 100% see you in Toronto. Just slide into my DMs and I'll let you know, because I may be adding one, although that is not the purpose of the trip. It is just a vacation. To Canada.
Is it a Josh Allen wellness check on his turnover trip?
Yeah. I figured if I was in Toronto, I'd say there's a 50-50 chance that I catch one of his interceptions and I could sell that on eBay.
I mean, I'm coming out a little strong with the digs, but bro, you're
I love of the two quarterbacks from the Monday Night Football game, you're like, the lead story here is definitely Josh Allen's turnovers.
No, it's not the lead story, but
I think you might be right. And there was a dirtball on the Reddit that I'm still awaiting his response, because Josh Allen's cap number is really high. So
I read that this morning.
Should the Bills be going into tank mode? That is the question.
Yeah, but see, here's the deal. I read that. I think there's some major spinning going on here, Mr. Praino.
Yeah, of course. There's a ton of spinning going on. The spinning, of course, was in the initial post, which is Daniel Jones and Kirk Cousins, when he signed with the Vikings, percentage of their cap number is the same. That is the most spin that anyone has ever spun, because since that time, the not only has the cap gone up, but the percentage of the cap that quarterbacks take has gone up drastically. And right now, Daniel Jones is literally middle of the pack for starting quarterbacks percentage of salary cap. And Kirk Cousins was the number one highest paid quarterback in football, the most guaranteed money ever. That's the spin in that fucking Reddit.
But where is he now is my question.
Right.
He's middle of the pack, right?
Right, of course. So the signing Kirk Cousins when you were a game away from the Super Bowl to be your savior and to lead you to the Super Bowl and make him the most guaranteed money of all time and make him the highest paid quarterback in football was one of the worst deals of all time. Whereas if you're the New York Football Giants saying, we are going to extend Daniel Jones for 4 years and make him a middle of the pack quarterback, is about right.
Yeah, but I never understood, because we know me, I'm not too big on Daniel Jones right now, or I wasn't back then either. Why wouldn't they have just said, play out your final year?
I
never understood that.
Well, what they didn't. What they could have done is they could have picked up his 5th-year option.
That's what I mean.
Which they didn't do because they were not sold on Daniel Jones. Now, they should have, everybody agrees, done that. I have no idea why they didn't do that. I think that the only thinking there was last year was the Daniel Jones resume year. And if he's shit, Why do we even want to be on the hook with him for another year when we could draft a QB or potentially, like so many of these teams, go out and get the guy that's ready, like go out and get Aaron Rodgers or go out and get whoever.
Let me ask you this. Do you think Daniel Jones can win a Super Bowl?
Do I think he can win a Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I'm not saying will, just can.
Can, yes. But that would be that's a question that I think you have to say yes to for every quarterback until you know that they cannot. Like,
really?
Yeah, I think so.
So let me ask one. Let me just follow up with another one.
For example, there's no bigger Russell Wilson truther in the whole world than Joe Praino. Russell Wilson won a Super Bowl.
Well, I was going to follow it up with, do you think Jimmy Garoppolo can win a Super Bowl? I'm willing to say no at this point.
I mean, he was there and he missed
was there
the
and he
throws.
But that's my point.
And if you look at the Niners right now, Brock Purdy looks like Brock Purdy was Mr. Irrelevant and looks like an absolute fucking superstar. Now, I'm all for you. You know, one of your favorite phrases is the Bill Parcells, "You are your record." I also think you are your stats, you are your resume. It's just a matter of like, what situation is it in? Like what I always said about Russell Wilson was, yeah, but what if he wasn't on that team? Would he have gotten the Super Bowl? Like, I think there's a lot of guys who can win Super Bowls in the right situation. I don't think Kirk Cousins is that fucking guy. Could Kirk Cousins win a Super Bowl on this Niners team? Maybe. But also, do I think Kirk Cousins could win a Super Bowl on any really good football team? No, I don't. Do I think he could win it on an elite football team with an elite defense where like he's the end? Like I'd rather.
Why don't you plug him in? Plug him in for the Russell Wilson Legion of Boom.
No, I don't think. I mean, maybe. Like honestly, I don't think they get to that Super Bowl. Could he have won that game against the Broncos where the defense scored more points than the Broncos did? Maybe, but I don't think he gets there. Especially not at the cap number.
No, I'm taking that out. I'm taking salary out of it. I'm saying rookie deal like Russell Wilson was on. Again, basically, don't turn the ball
I don't even
over.
think he gets there.
Okay.
And the thing is, I think that's what you have to do. There's a lot of guys. Can Brock Purdy win a Super Bowl? Right now, I'll say yes until he proves that he can't. But I think there are guys in the league who have proven that they cannot. Jimmy Garoppolo, I feel like, has proven he cannot.
Well, that's why I said that.
Kirk Cousins went to a team that was a game away from the Super Bowl and has won one playoff game, and we're still talking about him getting a big contract again. They've extended him twice. Comparing Daniel Jones and Kirk Cousins is ludicrously dumb.
From a talent level or from a salary cap level or both?
From honestly, both, neither, all of it. Like, it's just a matter of the resume. We don't have. We're the first week of the season. Lions fans want the Super Bowl trophy already. And we're like, Patrick Mahomes was throwing to Kadarius Toney and Richie James. That's who Daniel Jones has thrown to his whole career. Those were literally his players with no offensive line and no whatever. And last year they make fucking.
But I was gonna say, but to me that's different because so Patrick Mahomes is gonna make it work. Like.
But he didn't make it work in week one.
That's what I'm saying. But yeah, exactly. I take that for what it is. It's
exactly. I'm going with the week one overreaction to me is one of the funniest things in the history of sports fandom. We're not doing a week one overreaction of Kirk Cousins losing to Tampa Bay. We're doing a 10th year. The Washington Redskins, who had multiple guys in their front offices finger blasting cheerleaders on yachts in Greece while they sent racist emails, while they fucking whatever. We're like, we're not in on Kirk Cousins. We're not in. Literally one of the worst run franchises ever was like, we're not in. And the Vikings like, we'll take him. We're a game away from the Super Bowl. How is that going for you?
I
Just
find
to compare anybody in football to a guy who's been mediocre for 10 years.
I'm trying to think of like the previous best quarterback comps for Cousins. I find Cousins interesting because
Kirk Cousins is every guy from the 80s and 90s when we grew up who wasn't Marino, Elway, whatever. He's just Steve DeBerg.
yeah, but he's not, because here's why. I don't know the turnover numbers for Steve DeBerg, but Cousins doesn't turn the ball over for the most part. He puts up good numbers. Statistically, he does. He puts
We've
up
already
good,
done this. It's Carson Palmer.
No, I know, but I was about to say, but then it comes to the playoffs and he just can't get his team there.
Because he can't beat good teams.
Yeah, I guess that's a lot of it. And obviously we've seen those stats as well. The garbage stats against.
Oh, you're in the NFC North and you just light up the Bears and the Lions four times a year. And if you play in a good game against a good team and all of a sudden you throw for a bunch of yards late in the game.
Yeah. But like the Daniel Jones, Kirk Cousins comparison is interesting because they're so different in my opinion, right? Like even their quarterback play. Personally, I wouldn't want either. I wouldn't want either as my starting quarterback.
Well, in what situation?
Any situation. I mean, I just think.
Would you want Daniel Jones if you're the Jets right now?
I don't know. I worry about the turnovers, man. I know he did much better last year with them. It's you know the whole thing. I don't know what they're going to do. If they're just going to go with Zach Wilson, if they're going to have to, like I don't know who this veteran is to come for the Jets. Like who's this veteran who's going to come in there? That defense is fucking good, man.
Yeah, but that's exactly where we were last year. That's why they did what they did.
You know, it's a shame.
Were you watching? Were you sitting on the couch? Were you manning casting? Like, take me through Monday Night Football. Aaron Rodgers, Achilles pop 4 plays into the game.
It's going for a run, actually.
You were not watching.
I said I'm going to miss the first 5 minutes of the game. I came in. We all know it gets dark later here. It was like just getting dark later here. And
somebody told me California is not doing whatchamacallit, like we're not rolling back. We're not doing daylight savings this year. Some weird thing. Somebody told me that. I don't know if I believe it.
No, I think most places stopped. I think we're stopping that too. I think like last year was the last year of it.
Wow.
Yeah. So anyway, I came in and my girlfriend had the game on. She didn't know Manningcast was on, so she had the regular game on. There was 9 minutes to go in the first quarter, so I missed the first 6 minutes. And she said, Aaron Rodgers got hurt. I said, what? He got hurt. He's out of the game.
So was your girlfriend watching the game? Or it's just on in the background of what she's doing?
She's on the game and she's on Instagram. You know how it is.
Yeah.
So it's like, you're not really fully vested in this situation, even though you've been saying all day, can't, because of Hard Knocks, because we watched every episode together. Can't wait for the Jets game tonight. So it's like no clue about what happened. He got hurt. It's like nothing. So of course I just grab my phone and I see it. I'm like, are you fucking serious? Like I was in disbelief. I was angry. I was upset. I was like, this is just, here's the thing. That team, I wanted to see what they could do with a feasible quarterback. Well, that's Aaron Rodgers.
You picked him to go to the Super Bowl.
I did. I wasn't even thinking about that. I really wasn't. I was like, I just wanted to see.
Well, I mean, I wasn't saying you were thinking that. I wasn't saying you were angry about that. I'm just saying, not only did you want to see what they could do, you believed they could do incredible. You believed they could win the conference.
I did. I believe that their
Did
defense.
you pick them to win the Super Bowl?
I picked them to win.
Yeah. So you thought they could win the whole thing.
I just thought their defense was so good last year. And again, based on what I said in the preview show, is you get a competent quarterback. I don't expect MVP Aaron Rodgers. You get a competent quarterback. You get into the playoffs. I think anything can happen based on that Matthew Stafford, Rams, Bucks, Tom Brady model that we've seen twice now recently. And I couldn't believe it. There's no way he's going to miss the whole season. And then she actually said it before me. She's like, dude, I bet it's his Achilles. And I'm like, what? And she's like, he's going to be done. And I was like, what? And then I watched the replays, and then I saw she actually knew enough about sports. She's like, yeah, it was like KD and it was like Kobe where they just fall down. And I was like, I'm pretty impressed with that knowledge. Like, get off your Instagram. Why don't you pay attention more? And then
now Kobe would have gotten them to at least the bye week on the popped Achilles.
Yeah. I forgot about that. I remember watching that game live. So yeah, so I mean, it's just like as a fan of football and as a fan of the NFL and as a fan of quarterbacks, good quarterbacks, I want to see the best. So it was pretty devastating to see. And if you're a Jets fan, I mean, Jesus Christ, the agony. But of course, we got some calls coming at me. You knew who was going to call.
I don't. What? Was it Kyle Aronofsky?
Who sent me some text like, fuck you, Ruther, like, just like coming at me hot. Like, dude, I don't know what you want, man.
Were you like, dude, this is your Aaron Rodgers take?
Yeah, and then you got under my skin because you trying to make a vaccine joke dig, and I was like, really, Praino? Like, this is about the fucking best, the former MVP quarterback. This is where you're taking it?
Well, first of all, and I said this to you, and I'm kind of like, I've never the dent-headed monster of you on Twitter and Goldberg on Threads, and I know you're probably fucking texting each other behind the scenes.
No, you know what's funny? I'm not on Threads. I did see that though. Like I haven't been on Threads.
And I'm just like, of all the guys, like what is happening? I was just like, what is happening today on social media? Like I was like, my podcast partner who his palms must start sweating if Tua goes down to make like a brain injury joke or like a fucking finger, like the number of like when Lamar Jackson gets hurt this year, I wonder if it'll just be the Voltron boner gif. Like you're so quick to shit on a quarterback getting hurt, and then you're like, this is the take.
No. There's a difference there. I'm glad you brought this up because I'm like, let's air this out on the show. My opinion is I don't really give a shit about the COVID stuff. I don't want, like, I think it's played out. I think I said that, right? It's like lame to me. The COVID, the vaccine, any of that shit, what people do and don't believe. My thing is, I don't really care about that. So there are other angles that I would have taken it. That's all I'm saying.
I think like a lot of people replied, and I'm not doing this to shit on you. I think you totally missed the point.
No, I got what you were
Lamar
saying.
Hamlin went down, and people were like,
I knew that's what you were doing.
Like, I'm not trolling. And Matty Goldberg, not surprising. Matty Goldberg has missed the point on every joke that's ever been put on the internet. So whatever. But no one's dunking on Aaron Rodgers here. No one's trolling Aaron Rodgers. I know. The trolling is of people who are like, players can't get hurt anymore without pointing to COVID. No, for sure. But that was my point. That was, to be honest, that's what I'm saying. Like, you're taking it there. Why think about that? That's all I'm saying. And this is where we think differently, clearly.
I'm saying who gives a shit what someone says if DeMar Hamlin goes down?
But again, to my point, when Lamar Jackson gets hurt or Tua gets hurt, and this is the same thing we said about, I talked about fans of things last episode. You're not going to put up your meme about one of them getting hurt because you're happy they got hurt. You're going to put up your meme because the fans of Lamar Jackson have been coming after you for months saying that you're shitting on the guy and he's only missed games. You're going to put up that meme to dunk on those people. That's what you're going to do.
No, if Lamar gets hurt, I'm not gonna I won't. That's just
dude, I remember you firing off a Tua meme while he was still convulsing on the field.
Oh yeah. I did it too. Here's what I did from the Bengals game last year. I did
remember when he was locked up on the field?
Yeah, I did.
You were machine gunning them from like 10 accounts.
No, I did a Not Another Teen movie for my personal. It was a joke.
You did him fingering somebody on Tebow?
Yeah, maybe. Oh yeah.
The guy was still in concussion protocol. He might have had brain damage. But people have
are you seeing what I'm saying?
Yeah, what I'm saying to you is though, people were trying to sell you on Tua, and you're like, the guy can't stay on the field. And so when he gets hurt, you're like, here it is. This is going to rile those people up. This is good for clicks.
Yeah, but you're trying to rile up people who are in the middle of a COVID vaccine discussion. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's my point. Who gives a shit about those people? Why go there? That's all I'm saying. And we clearly don't have to agree on this, or we have different minds. Your mind's going to go, I'm like, that's why I was like shaking my head. That's where you're going. Now, did I laugh at the Taylor Swift joke? Yes. See, I was like, that was funny. Like, I know what you're doing. I just was shocked. I was like, okay.
I get, and
does that make sense?
Yeah.
You understand, right?
I mean, let's air it all the way out. I'll just ask you a question. Do you feel like Andy Ruther literally is a modern day Twitter shock jock across?
Maybe.
Yeah. Your brand is the joke to trigger people about whatever. You also do not give a fuck about making sexual assault jokes about Deshaun Watson. Like, you're putting up memes of guys like smiling, getting massages. Deshaun Watson next week in Miami or whatever. You're Roethlisberger, Kobe. You're an OJ joke guy. Aaron Hernandez murdering people. Like, do you ever notice? Do you find it weird that essentially, and I'm pro this, by the way, nothing is off limits to you, but if somebody makes a vaccine joke, it triggers you? Does that make you feel at all like you might be a conservative?
No, see, this is what I'm talking about. It has nothing to do with conservative or
I'm just
liberal.
saying nothing. You don't really go after people on the internet because you're the king of putting out things that are triggering to people. So when your podcast partner puts something out and you feel necessary to publicly reply to him, and that's what it's about, does that make you feel some sort of way about what your opinions are?
Well, no, for sure. I have a lot of opinions about the COVID discussion and all that. I just think, like, for me, I think there is a lot of things that nobody, like, a lot of these areas are still gray to me. Like, I don't know what to believe on so many of these things. And it's like, I also don't want to get in the weeds with it. And essentially I'm saying, like, why get in the weeds with it? That's why I would respond to you that way.
Aaron Rodgers is a liar. And
but my thing is, like, I don't care if he was vaccinated or not. I don't care if Kirk Cousins is vaccinated. I don't care
if he was vaccinated or not. I don't care. I've said that the whole time.
But why do you care about him misleading on the COVID vaccine?
Remember when he did it? He was like, I am allergic. I would have done it, but I'm allergic. So if that's the case, why is his Instagram story Novak Djokovic GOAT?
Well, I think he's taking a dig at Big Pharma.
Okay. So be that guy. I'm not vaccinated because I don't trust Big Pharma.
So you're saying he lied about the allergic
He's
reaction?
Well, one way or the other, he lied, right?
But see, you keep using the word lie.
I would have gotten vaccinated, but I'm not. But I was allergic. But also, I don't Instagram story a lot, but when I do, it's to call somebody hashtag Novak Djokovic GOAT. You're basically saying we were saying before, well, he's not an anti-vaxxer when it comes to this. It's like, sure seems to be.
Well,
Also, how about this? And by the way, I'm a 9/11 conspiracy guy. So whatever. But guess what Joe Praino's not doing as a 9/11 conspiracy guy? Running the American flag out to the center of the field on 9/11.
and that's fine. But you can call it, I think his opinion is I've been lied to from his perspective. And a lot of people feel that way. And I feel that way. Like, I think a lot of things when we talk about lying, we were lied to, we were misled, and nobody's owned up to it. And I think like, if we really want to air this out, I think a lot of this hits home personally for me because my dad had COVID and I couldn't see him. And all those policies turns out were kind of bullshit as far as debate the vaccine all you want. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. But when families couldn't see loved ones because we were so worried about this, and looking back on it, no one's issued a statement, right? That's like, hey, maybe those policies were bullshit. Or they kind of nonchalantly were like, hey, you know what actually works the best? N95 masks. And that's a fact, right? Like, any doctor or scientist is going to agree, we should have all been wearing those. Those cloths maybe didn't really work as well. So he takes that perspective. And I feel a lot of those sentiments too, as far as being lied to. And I don't really care, again, if you're vaxxed or not. But I feel like I would argue you do care more because you'll bring it up about Kirk Cousins not being vaccinated. I'm just like, I don't
Well,
really
he's
give
a
a shit.
Jesus freak weirdo.
Well, for sure he is. But do you see my point?
I have a lot. I'm a New Yorker. I have a lot of friends who are New York Jets fans. Rabid New York Jets fans. One guy who I'm friends with, Jets fan, Mets fan, follow each other on Twitter. Angry at people for the Joe Rogan's doctor jokes, whatever. This is not cool. Fucking, he's hurt, blah, blah, blah. I also have another friend who's a doctor in New York City.
Okay.
In reality, he said, yes. In reality, my hatred for faux science bro culture and the harmful impact Aaron Rodgers had on the vaccine discourse slightly outpaces my lifelong love of the Jets. So I am good with this man facing some karma.
Okay, so that's one, but that's where I completely disagree. And that's one person's opinion. I completely disagree with that. That's one person's opinion. My thing is,
I have to, as a doctor, convince people why they should do certain things, because there's pseudoscientists out there that have big platforms that are telling them they shouldn't.
Well, I don't really agree with that. I think a lot of people felt they were lied to, and there's been a lack of transparency through this whole thing on all sides, right? But my point, to bring it back to the tweet, is like, that's where I'm just saying, like, I don't really care about that stuff personally.
But you do care about it because you've replied to people about it, and you're like angry that other people care about it.
But I don't think that moves the needle in a fun, sports, interesting discussion. That's all I'm saying. That's my point. Is like, I'm here to talk about Aaron Rodgers or Kirk. It doesn't mean that we don't take digs at personal stuff. You and I do all the time.
That's my point.
I don't enjoy that as much.
That's fine. Listen. What you said is, played out or lame or whatever. But like the point is like, I think what you need to, and I'm being totally honest with you here. I'm not angry at all.
No, I
think what you need to maybe come to grips with is like, why would you reply to that? Like, totally honest with you. When some quarterback or player or whatever doesn't look as good as they do or whatever, I'm like, Ruther's about to hit us with the fucking Game of Thrones meme. Old lady, rotted tits, young lady. Like, I'm just like, how many times is this guy going to fire this fucking tweet off?
Sure.
Like, I would be like, that's lame. But I'm not going to reply to my podcast partner who I run a business with and be like, how many times are you going to fire off the same tweet? This is fucking lame.
You should. It'd be funny.
I should not, because I'm not here to fucking take down a brand that we're both a part of. But you were like, I'm going to reply to this guy publicly because, and sorry to use the word, you were triggered by it.
Well, like, I think I just explained it pretty fine, right? Like, the COVID discussion, whose opinions are being changed? That's all I'm saying.
Oh, no one's opinions are being changed. It's literally just dunk on the people that couldn't watch a guy die on the field without no concern for the guy dying on the field. We're gonna make it a vax question. So I was like, okay, well, let's turn it around.
But again, I think, my opinion, whether it's right or wrong, I think that's a fringe opinion, just like there's fringe opinions on the other side. So again, for me, like, I have, you talk about COVID fatigue, and this is a personal thing. Like, I just don't give a shit to talk about it. I don't like it. It's just like, I see an article again in the Wall Street Journal about like, hey, the new vaccines. That's like, I don't even want to, like, I want to move on. And again, a lot of this is very personal for me. And I think I just shared why. And I just think that definitely bothered me, because we're going to a place of, hey, man, we both agree how great Aaron Rodgers is.
What's crazy about this whole discussion is, like, I always think about your family and your situation and other people's families and other people's situations who dealt with the same thing. And that's what makes me angry about it. I'm like, I wonder if the dude fucking who got somebody sick, like maybe your dad or maybe my uncle or whatever, maybe he would have shown up to a basement wearing an N95 if he didn't listen to fucking Joe Rogan.
Yeah, but again, I don't fully agree there, because I think a lot of things were withheld, or there's control, and there's lying on all sides. And the reality is, the vaccine's good for some people. It's not, it depends on the person, right? Can we just agree to that? Like it all depends on the person. But see, this is we're doing what I'm saying. Like, I don't even really want to do is have these conversations, because it just doesn't interest me. That's the full disclosure to everybody listening and to you. It's like, I don't.
But I guess my point is like, and again, you probably know somebody in your life who's been sexually assaulted. You probably know somebody in your life who's been raped. You probably know whatever, but you don't mind making those jokes. But you're triggered if somebody makes a joke about this, because why?
Well, I think I just explained why. I
know, but I'm saying my point is this remains the same. I think you're missing it. Is like, you're the king of, like, I don't joke about whatever the fuck you want. But then you come at somebody and it's like, don't joke about this.
You still can joke about whatever you want, and that's fine. But I don't, again, just like you personally don't find the memes of the Game of Thrones funny, which is totally your opinion. I think there are more clever ways to do some of these jokes. That's all I'm saying. And that was my point. It's like, you're like, the Game of Thrones stuff is played out as lame. Totally respect that. The Aaron Rodgers or Aaron Hernandez jokes are played out. They're lame. That's totally respectable. Just like, for me, it's like, I don't care what.
But they don't trigger me.
I mean, I responded to you, Joe. Like, I said you went there. really shaking my head. I'm not like sending you angry things. We went back and forth on 2 tweets, right? I know you're going after that crowd. I think that was obvious, right? I'm not taking this as a dig at Aaron Rodgers.
Now, the next one was a dig at Aaron Rodgers, right? And then the third one was a dig at Taylor Swift.
What was the next one?
He had to wait for, confirmation from his shaman and Joe Rogan.
Oh. But see, even that, like, I still listen to Rogan occasionally. But the reason I even trailed off personally on listening to his show was for the same very reasons. Dude, how many times are you going to bring up COVID? How many times are you going to bring this up? You bring it up with every guest. I just, same thing. Like I had this conversation with somebody a year ago. I remember like, dude, the fatigue, and somebody was agreeing with me.
That's
like,
that, it's funny because that's kind of the whole point is the people who were so angry about it are the only people who still care. The only people still talking about it in any regard are Clay Travis, Joe Rogan, and Joe Schiavelli. Like they're the 3 people who are still like, and you're like, but you guys didn't want to talk about it in the first place.
Yeah, but you don't think that to make the joke, you don't think that you care?
Oh, I care. I care that those people are fucking still they exist.
But my point is, there's on these topics, these are obviously hot button issues, and a lot of it's been so politicized, which is part of my issue on all this. I don't think some of these issues should be politicized, but that's naive for me to even say that because we live in such a hyper politicized age, right? And of course, these things are always going to be brought up. But again, I think the anger again on a lot of people stems, and then we'll get back into the actual Aaron Rodgers football discussion, from people feeling like they were lied to, which is nothing new, right, with our government or with officials of power. And I think that's what it all stems from.
I think the problem with Aaron Rodgers and my dislike of Aaron Rodgers at this point is because.
But I don't think you dislike him real quick.
I like him as a quarterback, and I like some of the things he says. But again, pick a fucking lane, dude. You're the 9/11 flag guy now. You're the 9/11 flag guy now. Pick a fucking lane, dude.
Well, let me ask you this to counter that. If he has concerns and questions about everything that happened during the pandemic, does that mean that he also has to question 9/11?
He already did question 9/11.
Okay. He did.
Public. Yeah. Which is fine.
Sure.
No, do not hate him for that. Hate him for coming out in front of the New York Jets stadium where 9/11 affected a lot of people and being the guy with the flag. But he's Mr. Quarterback. He's the big free agent fucking guy. He's whatever. Why don't you let Robert Saleh do that? Why don't you let the fucking linebacker do that? Why don't you let whatever do that?
So do you think he's just a poser? What do you think?
Well, what do we always say on the show? What's the worst part, Andy? It's the hypocrisy.
So I'm just asking, like, out of curiosity, and to be honest, I actually still have not even watched that. I saw it had happened. I missed it when it was live. I haven't gone back. I've seen pictures. So you think he's like, deep down, he had questioned it, and he seems like a guy who entertains conspiracies. Let's be honest. He's talking about aliens. I would consider him open-minded to a lot of things. He's obviously goes in the woods. He does psychedelics. So you think deep down he probably questions 9/11, but he's
not deep down. He's on the record.
Okay. So on the record, he's questioning it, but he plays for the New York Jets. It's a 9/11 game.
There's 52 guys on the team.
No, I'm not justifying what he does or doesn't do there. I'm just asking the question, or I'm trying to get in his head. We're saying he's basically, this is a PR move, for lack of a better term. because he's on the New York Jets and it's 9/11.
100%.
Okay. And I don't disagree with you there. You're probably right. But from a quarterback perspective, and as a fan of the NFL, don't you hate that now we're going to do the what if game with the Jets all year?
Sure, but that's life. That's life in the NFL. What if Brock Purdy didn't get hurt in the NFC Championship game?
I know, but we've just never had this much.
What if Drew Bledsoe didn't get hurt?
I know the NFL is the what if game, but you see my point that let me ask you, hype wise, I can't remember this much hype. Again,
it was the most watched Monday Night Football game of all time, right?
I didn't know that.
I believe that was the numbers I saw.
And it ended up being a hell of a game still. That walk-off punt return touchdown by Xavier Gibson was great. Obviously, Hard Knocks star. I just look, dude, my thing goes back to football on all this. And as a fan of, we always talk about quarterbacks, and I love good quarterbacks. Again, I know people are going to say, oh, Ruther, because you picked the Jets. Yeah, I'm sure there's a part of that there in the back of my head. But it's more, I wanted to see what the Jets could do. Not with Zach Wilson, but with a competent quarterback. I think their defense from a football fan is fun to watch. And now we're never going to know. Who knows if he ever comes back? But it's next year, and we all know there's different players. I don't know.
It kind of what I think here. I'll give you an Aaron Rodgers take. I think if Aaron Rodgers tears his Achilles week 1 with the Packers this year, I think he retires. I don't think he ever plays again if this had happened on the Packers.
You're probably right.
I think the only chance that he plays football again is because he came to the Jets and because he had all this hype and because he signed a 3-year deal, renegotiated his deal or whatever and extended it, blah, 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 blah. But it felt like he was done until this. And then, Kobe wasn't the same when he came back after it, and think about what does Aaron Rodgers have left to prove?
Yeah. I don't know.
He's not breaking any all-time records. We know that. Brady's put so many of those so far out of reach for a lot of people that I think the idea of these guys chasing any of that stuff ever, I don't know. There might be somebody at some point who stays healthy and plays long enough. But at this point, you make so much money at such a young age. Like, Patrick Mahomes doesn't need 4 contracts or 5 contracts. Patrick Mahomes is smart. He'll play 2 contracts worth of football. Leave without CTE.
So we do have a call about an Achilles tear. Gene Marty Hunt, this happened to him. And again, obviously, people are different. Individuals are different. But he just wanted to share his own perspective as a non-athlete.
Hello, Mr. Joe and Andy. This is Gene Marty Hunt, Raleigh, North Carolina, Philadelphia Eagles fan. Hey, guys, I just wanted to go over briefly Aaron Rodgers' injury. As an Achilles tear victim myself, I feel that he can come back. It took my fat, out-of-shape self about 4 months to be able to run and 6 months to be able to play softball and do other goofy stuff with my friends. I know it's not softball, but since it's his left foot, which is his non-planing leg, I think that it won't affect his arm at all. Shit, he's more mobile than half the quarterbacks out there at the age of 39 going on 40. So that's just my humble opinion. So hope you're all doing well. And shout out to Kyle Aronofsky, my man. Stay dirty, guys. Bye.
I wanted Gene Marty Hunt to tell us how it affected his horse riding. That's what I wanted.
Yeah.
I know he's jumping some of them horses.
Sure.
And also, did the injury happen while jumping a horse? Was it a softball injury? I don't think there's any question of can Aaron Rodgers come back and play football well enough, especially on a team like the Jets with that defense? I mean, we saw this with Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning came back from a spinal injury, could barely throw a football, and led them to a Super Bowl. First came back, led them to like the best offense ever for a minute, then a Super Bowl, a loss, came back, won. Like, we've seen this happen. But the question is, again, Aaron Rodgers, and this is where we go back to the conversation we were just had. He's just put out so much. It almost the same thing again. It's like you almost don't expect him to come back because of what he said. I'm not chasing anything. I don't need the money. I don't really care. It's like, I want to blah, blah. So you almost think if you believe what he said, that he would be done. But I also think he bought into his own hype as well. He bought into the hype around the team, and he bought into like what this could have been. And
well, I think the hype's legit. Again, if you, I mean, how many times are we going to say it? If you have a defense, right? We always say defense quarterback, head coach. And I think they have a very competent head coach. I don't know. I mean, he posted something today on Instagram like he's coming back. I take that with a grain of salt. I'd like to see him come back. You said it good with Kobe. It's true. It's like you don't know if you're a shell of yourself. It just sucks.
It's also a totally different game.
It's a totally different game.
He's not a running back. He's not a receiver. He's not a defensive back. He's a quarterback.
We thought this would be a two-headed monster, Bills and Jets. Obviously, that's completely changed. I 100% give the Dolphins a chance to win that division now, especially if Josh Allen keeps turning the ball over. Now Tua obviously is injury prone too. I mean, here's the deal. We have to play the Kyle call though. I mean, it's only justice. You have a bet with him, diehard Jets fan. I mean, this is the mindset of a Jets fan. This is a call during that night.
You know what I want to say before you play the Kyle call, and I'm glad it didn't happen, and I'm not calling for it to happen. I got to say, I was a little worried because I came on Monday's show and was like, I'm a Jets fan now. I thought people were going to start the Praino curse. But I'm glad that everybody remains that it's the Ruther curse. I think everybody knows that that's stronger.
Well, I'd argue it's at least 60% Jets in this one. I mean, the Ruther curse is a couple years. Jets curse is, 50 years since Namath won? So this is what Kyle was going. So what was going on in his head?
Third quarter, Jets are down 13-6. Am I surprised? Am I shocked? No. Am I devastated? Yes, I'm beyond devastated. The curse of the Jets is so real. When the injury happened, I wasn't even thinking about the Dirty Sports podcast and Andy Ruther's Super Bowl predictions, but at like halftime, I just kind of remembered. And my stomach sank again. I mean, I've been nauseous for almost 2 hours now since it happened. I just knew right then. I mean, the MRI hasn't even been done. Rodgers has a ruptured Achilles. He's out for the year. We'll probably retire. And we'll probably go through the season with Zach Wilson or maybe get some other shithole quarterback out of retirement. That's it. I actually just walked way into my backyard to not wake up anybody. I live kind of in the woods, so I'm just going to do something really quick. Andy Ruther. Fuck you! Third quarter, Jets are down third.
Seems calm.
Yeah.
He, what did he text me? I'm going to pull it up here.
I think he texted me, I want Andy Ruther dead.
I truly fucking hate you. That's how he starts it. This is a Monday at 9:10 p.m. Life was better when my shithole irrelevant franchises were never spoken by your cursed mouth. Oh, I didn't even see this last one. And he sent me a third one. If you ever mention the New Jersey Devils in the podcast, I will Ted Kaczynski you. Well, too late for that. Just did. Sorry for your loss, Kyle. Look, man, obviously I was rooting for the Jets, and I bought in because I wanted to see somebody different. So somebody out of the AFC besides basically the Chiefs. And I don't know, man. It just stinks. We do have another call. I'm going to play one last call because now the concern, because this is concerns for New Orleans as well. So the Dirtballs are now trying to think the curse is moving in different areas.
What's up, boys? This is Jordan, number 1 Putnam County, Ohio Dirtball. Just calling in to say the Ruther curse is undefeated. Andy picks the Jets to win the Super Bowl, and 4 snaps into Week 1, Rodgers tears his Achilles. I bought a ticket to see the 1000th episode, but I don't know if I'm going anymore. If I risk being on the same plane as Andy going down, I don't know if we're going to make it. And if we do, I think Hurricane Andrew might make landfall right as the podcast is starting. So, I don't know. Ruther curse. Scary stuff. Condoms are for MetLife turf. Stay dirty, boys.
So,
What's up,
first of all, you got to remember, it has to be something I strongly believe in. You know, so I also, I picked him to win, but I wasn't like, you know how picks are. It's not easy, but I'm glad you're going to the 1000th episode.
Excuse me.
Do we have tickets available? Have you gotten any news
I
on
have not looked at about the bundle situation, but there are tickets available for the podcast. That's for sure. comedy.house/tickets. You can get your tickets to our podcast. You can get our tickets to my live shows, 7 and 9 o'clock. It was a pod and a show bundle for $30. It's a pod and a show singles for $40. It's not the world's biggest difference. I promise if you buy tickets to both shows that you will make up for it in drinks that I will buy you. Just get your tickets now while we sort it out. I warned everybody before this started. Limited time only. I told you to get your bundles. So is that limit up? Possibly. Is it going to come back? Possibly. But don't play the game you played last time and wait. Get your tickets now before it actually sells out, before the whole thing sells out. It's a very small club. Got a room for about 75 people. It's supposed to be a real. Basically everybody's on the podcast that night. Like that room is going to be a podcast.
What do you mean when you say that?
Like, if there were 75 people in the room with me right now,
I gotcha.
You could yell shit out like Aaron Rodgers did 9/11 or whatever, you know?
Sure.
And we would hear you.
I got you. The audio is they're gonna pick up everything.
Yeah, everybody's gonna be there. So get your tickets now. Buy tickets for everything. Get your airfare. Get your podcast tickets. Get your show tickets. Get your tickets to the game. Get everything. Buy it all. Maybe can you buy a streetcar Metro card online? I don't know. Buy it.
Well, it's 3 months from Monday. I'm sorry, Sunday.
Whoa.
No,
Be here before
Saturday.
You know.
Jesus Christ.
The NFL
Saturday.
season will be almost over by then, which is wild.
It's 3 months from Saturday. At that point, Jameis 1 of 1 will be in a complete tailspin.
Well, let's do this right now. This is a great way to dive in. This is a great way to just bringing the name Jameis up. Let's do it. Turn on our Instagram Reels camera because this is the content that the people will love. Who should the Jets acquire to join Zach Wilson in the quarterback room? I know Robert Saleh said Zach Wilson is the starting quarterback. What's the move here?
Somebody who doesn't turn the ball over.
Jacoby Brissett.
Jameis Winston, I'd argue, would be the worst person you could bring in.
Well, there's a lot of Jameis Winston talk. There's a lot of Carson Wentz talk. And I'm like, these guys are turnover guys.
Exactly. I would want neither of them. If your defense is getting turnovers for you, I mean, look, Zach Wilson turned the ball over once, but Zach Wilson actually...
Cooper Rush. Do you go big?
I don't hate it.
Do you offer money for Cooper Rush? Do you offer, like, Tom Brady's not coming back? I feel like the in retirement guys, Tom Brady, Phillip Rivers, Ben Roethlisberger, I don't see any of those guys coming back. And that can't be the move, right? Obviously, if Tom Brady wanted to come back, you'd let him, but none of those guys are. Would you take Phillip Rivers or Ben Roethlisberger over Cooper Rush?
No.
Now, Cooper Rush may not be available, but the Cowboys did go out and get Trey Lance.
I want a quarterback who can drive the ball. He's not going to give turnover. He's not going to put the ball in the other team's hands. I know what you're saying about Jacoby Brissoli, but like, I wouldn't. I don't know. I don't know about him.
Here we go. 5 quarterbacks. Let me give you 5 options. You pick the guy. Jameis Winston, Jacoby Brissett, Gardner Minshew, Cooper Rush, Matt Ryan.
Cooper Rush.
I think I'm a Cooper Rush guy too.
So you're
I'm not a Jacoby Brissoli guy. We know that. Gardner Minshew could be interesting.
He would be number 2 on my list.
Jameis Winston would be a debacle. The same as Wentz. The same as whoever, like turning ball over guy. Matt Ryan not officially retired, but this isn't the Matt Ryan.
No.
This isn't where you bring in Matt Ryan, right?
No.
I mean,
He's
for
done.
all the rah excitement around. I mean, we can criticize some of the things that Aaron Rodgers has said, but as far as personality goes, he's a way bigger one than Matt Ryan.
So Cooper Rush is 29 years old. Let's look at him as a starter. Let's just pull it up. He's 5-1 as a starter. Look, he's nothing lights out, guys. He's averaging 30 attempts a game. He's completing a little over 17 of them. 7 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. Been sacked 8 times. I mean, and here's the thing. Most of these were last year. But like, if he could do what he did against the Bengals last year when he won, and I'm not saying he's going to do that every week, but, they're going to win games, man. They won last year. They won against the AFC championship participant. I don't know.
There was the Joe Flacco talk that was out there, but it's like,
no,
he was on this team.
Yeah. I mean, that's who I'm going with.
Lamar Jackson's healthy. Do you go out and you get the guy who is Huntley? Like, you got to talk about the backups who are out there.
They're going to
ride with Andy Dalton.
No, they're going to ride with Zach Wilson.
Well, we know they're going to ride with Zach Wilson, but you got to bring in somebody to back up Zach Wilson now, right? Their offensive line is bad.
It's bad. And there's a lot of talk about that field turf. A lot of talk with the players.
Well,
not just that field turf. I'm saying field turf in general.
There's a lot of talk about that, the field turf there for sure. And it's been brought up. And my joke about the Taylor Swift thing was a joke, but it's also real. The MetLife turf, they insist on putting concerts there. And they do. I mean, Springsteen was there like 4 days before that game. Rubber, plastic in the turf. They pull it down. They don't roll it out. They don't whatever. They just put the shit on top of it. Everybody who's anybody who knows anything about this stuff said, this is why this happens. that other places have a way of removing it, that other places don't put things on their thing, that other places have grass that they can slide in and out, that all like.
But they'll never change. And when I say them, I mean all these. I saw the response. I saw the response when Mike Brown, Katie Blackburn, Mike Brown's daughter, who's the VP of the Bengals. I saw her. It's because they have the same thing. Her response was, "Well, data shows there's just as much data to show it doesn't cause injury, and grass does." So I just look at all. I lump all these owners the same. You're just like because you guys don't want to spend the money. That's what it is to me.
Well,
Because
they don't want what it is. They don't want to lose the money of you can't just have a concert on top of your grass field and then the next day play on it.
Yeah, well, exactly. Because Taylor Swift also performed here in that same Bengals. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
like you guys all
But then they have to space it out. Then they have to whatever. Like when Dodgers put a concert there, they don't play a game the next day.
Yeah, I mean,
So they don't want to lose the money of all the things that they can rent it out for. Monster Jam, concerts, this, that, the other thing. But the players are all saying, just make
all
it all
of them.
grass. All
of them. Yeah, this is pretty unanimous. This isn't
all the conspiracy theories Aaron Rodgers has jumped in on, though. He hasn't said shit about this yet, right?
not that I've seen.
He was at the Taylor Swift concert there, by the way.
All these guys are going.
Not to steal a Happy Gilmore meme, but talk about your all-time backfires.
I didn't know he was there. They're all going though. They're all going. I started watching, which I recommend. It's better than I thought. The Kelce documentary on Amazon.
Oh, about the brothers.
Yeah, and the premise is that not Travis. What's
Jason.
Jason Kelce. Yeah, there it is. He basically was filming. There was no intention of making this about the brothers, and obviously they met in the Super Bowl. I think it's pretty good. Like we're like 30, 40 minutes.
What's it on?
It's on Amazon, but it goes through their history.
Now, this is coming off the heels of our last discussion. Have you heard the rumors?
I saw them. I don't know if I believe them about Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift.
Yeah. I like you talk about the Ruther curse. There goes my Super Bowl pick.
Well, I saw the rumors and the headlines are like very misleading because it's like we're not dating, hanging. I mean, I don't know what it means. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are not officially dating, source says. They couldn't be, in my opinion. You watch this doc, you just see the difference. Jason Kelce met his wife on Tinder, and they talk about it. It's funny, and they share screen, and it's just like, he just had a third kid. You just know what I'm saying? It's like you see he's got this very practical house. You know what I'm saying? Like he's your center. I don't see him as the guy partying. I'm not saying he doesn't, but he's a good center, by the way.
Oh, yeah. He's like an all-timer.
That's what I'm saying. Like, is he a Hall of Famer?
Probably. I mean, how long has he been doing it now?
This is 2011. He's been a first-team All-Pro 5 times.
Yeah.
I mean, they're saying he's the best center in the league 5 times.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy. He was a walk-on at University of Cincinnati. He was a walk-on. So I don't know. It's like I said, it's good so far. Do you think they're actually dating though, Travis and?
I don't know, but like I said, can you imagine Taylor Swift and Brittany Mahomes? They're 2/5 of the way to forming annoying white girl Voltron. Like that. I mean, That's a pointing Spider-Man meme if I've ever seen one.
Yeah.
You're a basic white girl that yells a ton. No, you're a basic white girl that yells a ton.
But is there a period that they have to date for that curse to be real? Like, does it have to be a minimum? Like, do you have to date?
I don't know, but it has to be long enough for her to write a song about it that then makes the whole world hate Travis Kelce.
So he put out the bat signal, and now she's responding.
And then apparently on his podcast with his brother brought it up. They brought it up a few times, and then one day he was like, "We're not talking about that anymore." That's what's fueling the rumors, is that he's like, "Nah, this isn't okay."
Oh, I didn't know that.
And he wore a John Mayer t-shirt on the podcast. Was that a subtle?
Jason Kelce did?
Travis Kelce did.
Why would he wear a shirt of her ex?
I don't know. Did the bottom of it say sucks? I don't know. Like,
interesting. I want to get to something. We're obviously going a little longer today, but I want to get to something you and I keep putting off. We've done overrated, underrated. We did it a few times, then we stopped.
Ooh, yeah.
We need to do the North Division.
The Norths.
So, overrated, underrated, AFC, NFC North quarterbacks.
Okay. I feel like these are an interesting group, but I feel like we've sort of made our opinions known on a lot of these guys. But let's go. Which one you want to start with?
We've definitely made our opinions known, and people are not going to be surprised by any of these. Let's start AFC North. Kenny Pickett.
I'm saying underrated still.
Okay.
Underrated to properly rated.
I'm saying properly rated. We don't have enough data on him yet.
Yeah.
So everybody's kind of saying, is he overrated? Is he underrated?
I'm going to say right in this moment, underrated, because the week one overreaction crew.
Okay. Deshaun Watson.
Deshaun Watson probably underrated at this point.
I agree. I think he's underrated. I think last year, I don't take much into that. He was a great quarterback before everything happened.
I think even when he was at his best, people didn't put him up there. People didn't rank him as high. I feel like I could go back to episodes of this podcast alone where you would be like, I'll take Russell Wilson. And I'd be like, huh?
Yeah, I'm sure I did at the time.
Yeah.
But he had some monster years. So we're both going to agree. Deshaun Watson, underrated. All right. Lamar Jackson. I know what we're both going to say.
Overrated.
Definitely overrated.
By the way, let me just make something clear, because some folks on this, just in response to us doing this already, they just don't get it. I never said Chick-fil-A is better than, or is worse than a McChicken sandwich. It's not about how good anything is.
It's about how it's rated.
It's about how it's rated. Just because I say Kenny Pickett is underrated and Lamar Jackson is overrated doesn't mean I think Kenny Pickett's better. Like, I can't believe I have to explain this, Andy. But
yeah, well, you do. I know
these
what
are
you're
our
saying.
fans.
These are we're just saying the perception.
The perception.
And
is
the
that he's an every year MVP candidate, that he can lead them to a Super Bowl, that whatever. I think overrated.
Yeah, and I agree, overrated. We all know my opinion. I think he's still not a good passer. He's a running back, which is good now.
He's a good passer.
He's a good passer.
Lead passer.
I'll watch him live this week. I'm going to go to the game. I'll see Lamar live. Last time I saw him live, he lit up the Rams on Monday Night Football. It's the last time I saw him live. His MVP season. And not to just keep digging, but that was so long ago. I was living in Los Angeles. So there's a little perspective there. It's 2019. and he looks phenomenal. So we both agree overrated. Joe Burrow, properly rated.
Properly rated, right?
Properly rated, and Bengals fans, I'm going to say this a million times because there's a lot of you out there that I see just because I live here and I hear it. He's nowhere on Patrick Mahomes' level. Sorry. He's just not. There's Mahomes and then there's the rest of the pack.
Yeah, I don't do the 1A, 1B thing.
Don't do it.
Yeah, that would have been my argument, I guess. If you were going to make an argument for something else, you could maybe make an argument. I don't think anybody's underrating Joe Burrow. Right?
There's a few. McCockiner. There's a few out there.
What are we talking about here? That's not even a.
Yeah, there's a few who want to nitpick his playoff stats.
Yeah. I don't think anybody's underrating Joe Burrow. I would almost argue, if you can make an argument for anything, you can make an argument for overrated, but I'm going to say properly.
Yeah, I agree. He's properly
Everybody,
rated.
when people talk about their top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL, there's not a lot of people who leave out Joe Burrow.
Yeah, you should.
And I think that's where we're, that's like, who gives a shit about your top 1 or 2 or your top 10 or whatever? It's kind of like top 5 that's the class. You can say who your best is. You can say who your top 5 are, who your top 10 are.
And when we discuss like 1A, 1B, guys, for somebody to knock Mahomes off, he already has 2 titles. He's been to 3 Super Bowls. He's been to AFC Championship every single year he started.
Yeah.
So to knock him off, cool, win 2 or 3 Super Bowls in a row. Like, that's possibly knocking him off. That's already where he's at. All right, NFC North. We'll start with the Bears.
Overrated. I'm not even going to let you say his name.
Justin
What are we talking about
Fields.
here? What the hell are we talking about here? Bears fans, you should be embarrassed about yourselves.
I'm going to say overrated too. Justin
I
Fields
said this last episode or 2 episodes ago, and I'll say it again. We got angry Redditors coming at me over Daniel Jones. Imagine I just woke up one day and was like, he's going to be an MVP candidate this year. That's Bears fans. Except Fields is worse.
Jordan Love, overrated, underrated.
In the right this second, week 1 overreaction, maybe overrated. I'm gonna say properly rated.
I'm gonna say underrated.
Underrated.
Not based off like what. Again, I know most likely probably properly rated, but I think underrated in the fact that I don't think people gave him much of a chance. And I'm like, okay, the Packers kind of have a history of making the right move at quarterback. I mean, shit, we're talking Favre, Rodgers, now this. So I'm going to say he's underrated because I think they have a knack for talent and seeing talent.
Can I play devil's advocate for a second with just your statement? Do the Packers have the history of making the right move at quarterback? The right move at quarterback probably should have been get rid of Brett Favre the first time he tried to retire and be like, cool, bye.
I'm talking the eye to, they traded him from the Falcons. Rodgers falls in the draft. They take him. All right, so I'm going to say underrated. You're going to say properly rated / overrated based on week 1.
Yeah, maybe I'll say properly rated.
We both know the answer to this. Kirk Cousins.
I don't know your answer.
Overrated.
You do it, Andy.
So the thing about Cousins, I said this on the show. I had a discussion with my brother of all places. I think it was going to the Grateful Dead concert a couple of years ago. And it's my older brother, and he watches a lot of football. But this was your instance of why he's overrated. We're sitting there arguing about Kirk Cousins waiting in security line to get into Grateful Dead. And then, of course, it spills into the concert. And we all know how long those concerts are. And like during the intermission, which was like 45 minutes, it goes back to Cousins. And he's just saying, he's like, name 12 quarterbacks better. And it was kind of easy for me to do, or who I'd rather have, which then turned into a discussion. And it all goes back to, dude, you've won 1 playoff game. Your stats are nice. You're a nice girl next door that I marry. That's cool. That's fine. You're not taking me to the Super Bowl.
What's funny about the Vikings is the Vikings have done this, but we just talked about the history of the Packers. Oh, the Packers have this history. You remember? I mean, there's Vikings fans alive who are probably right now arguing on the internet about how great Kirk Cousins is, who did it for Dante Culpepper. Look at his numbers. Look at his numbers. Yeah, man. Randy Moss is really good.
Sure. Justin Jefferson's really good.
Yeah.
Well,
and remember when they were right there with Randall Cunningham, and then they brought in Dante Culpepper? He was going to be the guy. He's going to put him over the top. Look at his numbers. He's an MVP candidate.
Who was the quarterback against the Kerry Collins Giants NFC Championship game?
It must have been Culpepper, right? Or was it Randall Cunningham still?
It's just a boat racing that game.
41-0. I was there.
41-0. I knew it was 41. I thought they had 8 for some reason. Wow.
It was in the Meadowlands. Somebody bought me a it was Culpepper. You want to know what Culpepper's stats were? 13 for 28 for 78 yards and 3 picks.
Damn. That's some Carson Palmer shit right there. All right, so overrated.
And he was supposed to be the guy.
Yeah.
That took him over the top. Cunningham's good, but he's old. Look what he's doing. We should get a high. I mean, there were legit Vikings fans who were like, Dr. Culpepper should get the MVP.
He was good for a minute, man.
Yeah, man. Having really good receivers makes quarterbacks better. Then when you face good defenses.
I mean, he led was that the year he led the league in touchdown passes?
Probably.
Yeah, it would have been 2000. Yeah. All right. Last but not least, Jared Goff. So can I do? I'm gonna do a difference. Lions fans overrated.
Everybody else properly rated.
Yeah, the rest of the NFL properly rated.
Therefore, overrated.
You could say that.
No one's underrating him, right?
No.
So he's overrated.
And for the record, that's not an easy situation for Jared Goff. Like, you go from Sean McVay, you make the Super Bowl, you're the Rams. I think he's done very well given his circumstance. I will give him credit for that. He went to Detroit, definitely the pariah of the NFL, and he's looked pretty sharp. I want to see him in playoff games, though.
He looks pretty sharp in LA.
Yeah, he did.
If you look at Jared Goff's numbers in Los Angeles, they're great.
They were great. He had some great seasons.
They traded him.
Yeah, I mean,
it's almost like that's not. It's almost like if you know football, you look past that stuff.
I mean, he made back-to-back Pro Bowls. And we saw him live in the infamous Chiefs-Rams Monday Night Football game. One of the wildest games ever. I believe it was 2018, the year the Rams went to the Super Bowl.
He played great.
Played amazing.
Chiefs don't have a great defense. Didn't end for sure.
No, it was a lot worse then. So we agree that he's overrated.
The Jared Goff issue, Lions fans, I'm sorry to be the one to break this to you because I know you've already bought your airfare to Las Vegas. You play good teams in the playoffs. At some point, you're going to have to make the tight window throw. You're going to have to. You might have to do it for an entire game. There's no situation where you're going to a Super Bowl. There wasn't even when he was in LA. I mean, if you remember the fucking phantom interference call.
You know what's a huge tell on Jared Goff's talent? Not just that they traded him and then they instantly go to a Super Bowl. Remember that playoff game, 2020 playoffs, when no fans were there? And Goff, they're like, is he going to play? Is he going to be healthy? McVay went with a complete no-name. McVay was like, I'd rather trust a no-name. I think it was like a second or third stringer. He was definitely at least a second stringer. Do you know what I'm saying? And they beat Seattle.
Yeah.
Because he was just like, I don't know about Goff. We're going to go with this guy.
That's I forget, what was that dude's name? I don't remember his name, but I know one thing. He ended Jared Goff's career in Los Angeles, and he ended Russell Wilson's career in Seattle in one day.
Yeah.
We can't even remember his name.
I'm going to look it up.
We can't remember the guy's name. He's responsible for a Rams Super Bowl victory. And he's responsible for arguably the worst trade in the history of the NFL. That is wild. Somebody should do a 30 for 30 about that guy.
Who was it? Was it 2020? Oh, because they list it. Hold on. Sorry. They list it. I see why. They list it. It's always confusing because it was 2021 year. It was.
I just said his name the other day, which is so funny.
I'm going to find it.
John.
Did Goff play that game? Am I incorrect? Maybe I said all this wrong. No, this wasn't the 30-20, was it? Did Goff play? Oh yeah. No, Goff did come into the game.
John Wolford.
John Wolford. Or was Goff sat? I don't know. Now this is really confusing. Are we completely wrong in this?
Maybe.
Because now we look like idiots. Jake Wolford did start the game.
Yeah.
But then he got hurt.
Yeah.
And they brought in Goff.
It's neither here nor there.
Well, we were wrong.
No, we weren't. We weren't wrong. He played the game. He started the game. He started him over Goff.
He did.
I knew he started him over Goff.
I knew that. I forgot that Goff came in and threw an amazing 9 of 19. He did. He ended Goff and Russell Wilson's career in one game by starting John Wolford. You think that guy's still in the NFL?
No way. Although he might take the Jets to the Super Bowl this year.
He's listed.
Get Wolford in there. Where's your boy? Where's your boy Nathan Peterman too?
He just got cut.
Why is Nathan Peterman not being in talks to the Jets?
He just got cut. I forget by who. People were like, "This guy's still in the NFL." You want to do some picks?
Yeah.
I mean, this is what we're going on. We gotta get to some picks. Before we do that, make sure you're drinking some Miller Lite when you're watching games on Sunday. The official sponsor of Dirty Sports, and it should be your official sponsor of football season, guys.
Andy, unlike, well, you know what, I'm not gonna do this first since we're in the midst of I'm not going to get too far off the reservation here in the midst of a Miller Lite ad. But let me just say this. Canada, not big on Miller Lights. Not a lot of Miller Lights. I could never live here. You know, people always talk about, oh, this happens, I'm moving to Canada. That happens, I'm moving to Canada. Not me. I've got my problems with our neighbors to the south right now. But they got Miller Lite. I could never live up here. I need me some Miller Lite. They love showing their football Sundays here. I know that from my trip to Vancouver. I was at a bar last night. They were like, yeah, we got the Sunday ticket. Come in for the games. Is it BYOMLs?
Bring your own Miller Lights.
Yeah. Is it BYO goats?
Well, easily accessible here, as you guys know. So when you're enjoying the football season, which will be the next 5 months, make sure you crack open a nice cold Miller Lite, whether you're playing fantasy football, whether you're at the game, whether you're at home, whether you're grilling out. Make it Miller Lite season. It's officially now, guys. From kickoff till the clock runs out, you can't go wrong with a Miller Lite in your hand. Make it Miller time all season long. Get Miller Lite delivered right to your door. Simply visit MillerLite.com/dirty sports, or you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces. All right. So week 2 is upon us already. So here we are, man. Week 2. I'm going to pull up the spreads.
Let's go.
I got 10. You got 8 the first week. You know, we got to ease into the season. It takes a minute. So we'll see.
I'm angry at myself for not going in on Atlanta. I think for the rest of the year, it's gonna be hard to get me to take a Carolina in a game.
Yeah, I felt that way too. So we start off with your boy Kirk Cousins traveling to Philly, where it did not end well, if I recall last year. I believe that was a Monday Night Football game, and they got their ass kicked. Eagles 6-point favorites. Eagles missing a few players I saw tonight. I think they have 3 starters down.
This is a really tough pick for me, actually. So here's a couple of factors. I'll say this, and it almost makes me want to take the Vikings, but if any other quarterback, and I mean any other quarterback, was playing for the Vikings tonight, I would take the Vikings because 6 points. These Thursday night games are always sloppy. I don't care that it's in Philly. I'm tempted to take the Vikings, but if I take the Vikings and tomorrow I wake up and the Eagles have won 40-6 because when Kirk Cousins knows the whole world is watching, he literally, and I'm not using that like a fucking millennial girl at a Starbucks, Kirk Cousins literally poops in his own pants on national TV. I like.
So you taking the Eagles?
I don't know. I'm not sure. To me, it's so obvious to take the Eagles that I'm gonna take the Vikings. I'm taking the Vikings.
I was hoping you wouldn't do that. It's like, pick the Eagles. Because I'm gonna go with the Vikings because it's a Thursday night game.
It's just they're always so sloppy.
Yeah.
They're always kind of like, I wonder if the under hits on Thursday night games like all the time.
And last week was so sloppy. Just in general. It was so bad.
But prime time, we're both picking prime time Kirk. We both went on long, overrated soliloquies. To me, it's why we're doing it. It's like it's so obvious that he's gonna take a dump in his own pants that it's like you almost got to do it.
So last week was bad. I actually got this from Hall of Fame Dirtball Stanga. He sent this to me. These are some stats that are just absolutely atrocious from week 1, which again, short week. You think they're going to improve? 19 of 32 teams failed to reach 200 yards of net passing. That's 200 yards of net passing. 19 of 32 teams last week. In all, teams combined for just 194.5 net yards passing last week, for the lowest total in week 1 since 2006. 4 teams didn't even throw for 100 yards. Like, the point is, it was real sloppy last week. This is a short week. It's not going to get any better. I mean, I have to take the Vikings to cover.
I'm with you.
Now I'm going to do the opposite this next game. Packers, Falcons. Atlanta's a 1.5 favorite. It's in Atlanta. I say the Packers win and cover.
It's weird. Listen, last week I stupidly didn't pick the Falcons, even though I think the Panthers might have a really, really, really bad year. I do not know why there's a Falcons hype train. I'm with you. I'm going to go with the Packers.
Okay. Moving along, the Raiders will be close to where you're currently. They'll be in Buffalo. The Bills. Mr. Turnover, Josh Allen. 8.5-point favorites.
Can we talk? I know we talked about Josh Allen to start the show. Can we talk about him again? Like, what do you think the issue here is?
I don't know, man.
Is this just a Dable thing? Is this just?
It could be. I mean,
because it is kind of before and after, right?
The one he chucked that was intercepted in Bucky.
Dude, he threw a bunch that were.
No, I know. And I even
throws.
made the comment, and then Buck followed it up literally verbatim after a second. I go, well, that's basically a punt. But even that was like, do you just chucking the ball in the end zone? Like, and I get it. Again, it is basically a punt
and a fumble.
So 4 turnovers. I don't know, but you got to correct it, man. Because your defense is there. They're not going to give up many points. I mean, he's fallen, dude.
And now there's a Stephon Diggs. Do you see this? Reporters are trashing him.
You know what he is, and you just can't do this in the modern NFL, dude. You're Brett Favre-ing it, man. This isn't 1996 on the Packers. You're Brett Favre-ing it out there. You're just chucking it, fumbling it. You might break some tackles. You might make some amazing plays. This isn't that football anymore. You can't Brett Favre it. I'll straight up say he's the reason they lost that game. 100%.
He said it.
What?
He said it.
Oh, okay. Well, then he agrees with me. You're up first. I know what I'm going to pick.
I'm going to take the Bills. I'm going to take the Bills because it's at home. I think their defense is good. The Raiders didn't score that many points against the Broncos. I think it's at home. I think the Bills get it right at home. I think this Raiders team is going to be screwing bettors the whole year. I think it's going to be one of those teams people go back and forth on. They're like, are they good? Are they not good? Are they good? Are they not good? I don't see a consistency. I just don't think they can score enough points. I could see it I could honestly see it being like a 17-3 game.
I'm going to take the Raiders. Give me some backdoor Jimmy on this. 8.5 is just too big for me.
Backdoor Jimmy is the title of the 9-video franchise that he has with his ex porn star's girlfriend.
That'd be a good series. I'd watch it. All right, Ravens, Bengals. Again, I will be at this game. I accepted my invite. I will be at Paycor Stadium. Ooh, the spread moved a little. It moved a little since this morning. Was 3.5 Bengals, which I was going to take the Ravens. Now it's 3. I know for a fact it moved 0.5 point.
Well, if you were going to take the Ravens at 3.5, then you believe that the Ravens cover if they are 3. So now it's a push. So now it's a coin flip in your head, and now you're going to switch?
I don't know.
Well, you're first.
I am first. That's why I'm airing this out. So I was at their last playoff game at home, and they struggled against the Ravens, who didn't even have Lamar Jackson. I don't know, man. I just, my head tells me, okay, the Bengals right the ship. Are they going to start 0-2 2 years in a row? So, like, the big news here, this is such, like, Cincinnati news. Joe Burrow got a hair, he had longer hair, he got a haircut. Everybody's talking about it yesterday. And even Burrow was like, I had to get rid of last week. And maybe I'm crazy, but in my head, I'm like, we're doing this all, like, You were clearly growing your hair out for months, and you have one bad game, and like we're getting superstitious, which in a way makes me want to pick the Ravens. Like, dude, if you lost your
Week
mojo,
1 overreactions.
well, that's what I'm saying. And like even Burrow himself, he's not hiding from it. He's like, yeah, terrible game. I'm cutting my hair. And I'm like, what? That actually makes me want to pick the Ravens. Fuck it. I'll do it. If they lose, literally Cincinnati will be losing its mind. And the antagonist in me kind of wants to see that. People lose their mind.
Andy
After
Ruther
seeing-
at this point has your fandom is now down to you're a Bengals fan, but also you can't decide I feel like you're no longer a Seattle Seahawks fan because you really were just a Russ fan. Russ was exposed and you abandoned ship. You're like Praino's right. I don't even want to talk about this guy anymore. I'll never root for this guy ever. Anytime this guy comes up, it's just going to be Praino dancing on my grave. So we're just going to pretend Russell Wilson literally doesn't exist in the NFL anymore. Brady retired. Your Rams, you're just like, you were a Rams fan. You were a Rams Chargers fan because you were in LA. You moved back to Cincinnati. You're like, I have left. You were like the moving trucks in the middle of the night. You're like, I'll leave all my gear here. So you're just basically now back and forth from a week-to-week basis, whether you're rooting for or against the team of the town that you live in.
Well, look, again, I no.
The roller coaster. I don't know if you saw the video of Space Mountain with the lights on, but that's basically the roller coaster ride that is Andy Ruther's NFL fandom. You're Space Mountain with the lights on.
No, look, I don't have to. Again, I'm a fan of the league. Give me that hat. What's his name? Why am I forgetting the actor's name? He was wearing the NFL hat. Yeah, give me the Rob Lowe NFL hat, man. I'm not going to be sitting there. I'm going with my buddy. Like he has company seats. I'm not like in there rooting for the Ravens. I say a lot of this with jest, but in all seriousness, all jokes aside, again, Bengals fans.
The truth is, you're one of those guys. You like to watch the world burn. You like to watch. You would like the thing, provided it's not Aaron Rodgers going down and people mocking that on the internet. You just want to see people in mayhem.
Yeah, I want to see Aaron Rodgers play. I mean, again, I want to see good quarterbacks. So I don't want to see Lamar
maybe
Jackson.
He'll get beamed up to a fucking alien spaceship, and they maybe on another planet they do Achilles way faster, and he could be back by week 6.
It's the same way, right? I don't want to see Lamar Jackson get hurt. I don't see Joe Burrow get hurt this week. I want to see a good game. So I'm not sitting here.
The MetLife turf can't break the steel beams of Aaron Rodgers' Achilles. He could be back. Like, I'm not counting Aaron Rodgers out for this year still.
Well,
I'm going to take the Bengals because at this point I need to play the Ruther curse.
I think this game is a big toss-up. I do. I just think, I don't know. Again, they always start slowly.
Ravens 1-0. Bengals 0-1. This division's going to be a dogfight.
It will.
Think we leave there one. Everybody leaves there 1-1. 3-point game. I think you're right. I think it's going to be a 3-point game, but I'm going to coin flip for the Bengals.
So one of the big knocks in the Bengals that I'll see from other AFC North franchises, they always say poverty franchise, which makes me laugh. And it's so funny seeing Bengals fans defend it because they always bring up Burrow's contract. And I'm like, cool. Go read the report that the own players that you root for rated about the plumbing, about things being cold. Again, we're talking about Major League. They are a poverty franchise. The bubble where they practice, they're a poverty franchise. That's fine. Just own it. So, yeah. That's where I get annoyed again with just fans, but that's every team. To be fair, that is right. We've talked about it. Every team's fan base is delusional. I mean, the truth is we all know. I think you're delusional with Daniel Jones. It's fine. Like,
meanwhile, I see that's the. I mean, I'm delusional about some things in my own teams, but this is the same thing that we're dealing with. That I'm dealing with. I'm like. What did I say about? I said I didn't want them to give him $40 million. I don't know that he's our quarterback of the future.
So you're saying that on record here.
It doesn't. You are like, listen, the Giants do not have a receiving core, and the Giants do not have an offensive line. But that's what makes it hard to judge Daniel Jones. But he played really well in the first year of Dable. Also, I'm certainly the difference between me and people who want to like bury Daniel Jones is the 40-0 loss is an across the board debacle. No part of that was like, oh, I don't know if Daniel Jones is the guy. Based on what?
Really?
Based on that game?
I'm not basing it all on that game, but that you don't think that feeds into
No. 1 week in the NFL? Not only 1 week in the NFL, but week 1 in the NFL?
Okay.
It would be as delusional as Detroit Lions fans thinking they're going to the Super Bowl. That is no factor. The whole body of work is what makes me say, I don't know if he's the guy, because I think we have the coach and I think that we're going to build something. Is he the guy that you can build around? That's a financial situation. That's a everything. But the other question with Daniel Jones is like, he didn't, unlike Kirk Cousins at the time, he didn't come in and get the richest contract in sports. He didn't get a contract that's going to make them say, we can't pay this guy, we can't pay that guy. Oh, well, then they did this whole negotiation with Saquon Barkley. None of the teams paid their running backs.
So I know what you're saying about week 1, but I think at times reactions are justified. There are week 1 overreactions. Giants got their fucking ass kicked.
Yeah.
Like my point is, there are also things for setting tones for seasons. Can we not agree?
No doubt about that.
And I think that was a statement game, almost more for the Giants, in my opinion.
Wow. Then for the Cowboys?
Yeah, because I think the Cowboys can be hot cold. I picked the Giants last week. I picked the Giants to finish second in that division. And I just was in my head, I'm watching the game going, dude, so so the drive ends and then you get pushed back. What was there? Penalties, and then you had to kick the field goal. And it's like, then just the whole wheels fall off. Like the whole game just falls off there. The blocked field goal.
No doubt about that.
I was like, this isn't like, how does this happen?
Right.
And maybe it is just an outlier. I don't know. We'll get to them in a minute though.
Yeah. But again, this is my point, is like the delusion. I'm like, I don't know if he's our quarterback of the future.
Okay.
I think that they overpaid him, but I also think that they didn't overpay him more than what the fucking, basically they paid him the minimum amount they could pay him without moving on from him. Every single quarterback who has signed this offseason, except for Daniel Jones, signed the highest contract in the history of football. Jalen Hurts did it, then Herbert did it, then Burrow did it.
No, I know. Again,
Everyone.
I don't know why they didn't just pick up the 5th year.
That was a decision they made before last year. They couldn't do that this offseason.
So why not just let him play out the year? Because this is his 4th year, correct?
This is his 5th year.
This is his 5th year. So he would have been a free agent. They could have franchised him.
Correct. Couldn't franchise both of them.
I gotcha. All right. Well, Lions, Seahawks in Detroit. I went first last. I said Ravens. Seahawks are 4.5 dogs in Detroit. I'll be curious what you say first with this.
Take Seattle.
I was hoping you wouldn't do that.
I'll take Seattle 4.5. It's just going to be a close game.
I think it will too. I'm going to take Seattle as well. All right. Chargers, Titans in Tennessee. Chargers are 3-point favorites.
This is the craziest line of the whole fucking week. I mean, by crazy, I'm like, I don't know. The Chargers win this game 30-10. Do the Titans win this game 9-6?
Both teams are 0-1. And we all know it's not easy to go west to east.
Right.
Chargers can put up points. They also can't play defense or, but then again, the fucking Titans don't have an offense. Titans cover.
Here's what I'm going to say. I think the Chargers win this game, and I think the Chargers cover. And I think it's maybe the worst thing that could possibly happen for the Chargers. If the Chargers went into Tennessee and lost this game, now we both think the coaching disparity, the coaching disparity between these two teams is about as big in the NFL as you could probably get these days. If they went in and lost, he might be gone.
Yeah, if they start 0-2.
And it might be the best thing that ever happened to them.
I agree.
I think that the Chargers will not. I think the Chargers are going to be exactly.
They're 9-8.
I think the Chargers' destiny is just like
9-8.
Maybe even better, but not good enough to do anything. But good enough where you feel real weird about firing your coach. Chargers win and cover.
But isn't that the Chargers' MO?
Yep.
Like, what's been their MO with coaches? It's been that same thing. They fired Schottenheimer after he led them to 14-2, and they get upset in the playoffs. Like they've just been wondering, right? With coaches, like lost in the wilderness since that firing.
Meanwhile, this offseason, Peyton was out there. You talk about a fucking, the quarterback whisperer, the guy. Go all in on outscoring everybody.
Let's flip this right here. Can you imagine if Vrabel was the Chargers head coach?
Oh, yeah.
How good would they be? The defensive-minded coach, that quarterback.
By the way, I saw an incredible Herbert stat. And it was, the guy's thesis was, anybody who's critical of Herbert at this point literally just doesn't know the facts of the game. In his first 4 seasons, in a quarterback's first 4 seasons with a franchise, no quarterback has put up as many points as Justin Herbert.
That's a good stat. That's good for me to know.
No, that's half of the stat. In a quarterback's first 4 seasons, no team has given up more points. We're not even talking about the teams that are just playing bad. And we're not talking about the David Carr Texans. We're not talking about just a Kelce Smith Bengals team. We're talking about any team ever. In a quarterback's first 4 seasons, no team has given up more points.
That's interesting. Yeah, that's a good one to know. We all know I started to fade on Herbert, but that's a good one that can change my mind back. So you're taking I'm taking the Titans and you're taking the Chargers.
The Titans played pretty mediocre football last week. I think obviously their defense is good, but the Chargers, I know it's home, but it's not like they have a home field advantage. They just put up so many points. Like that was a shootout last week.
Sure.
I'm not sure I can see any team holding the Chargers to, 17 points. Meanwhile, I'm not sure the Titans can score 14 points.
That's fair. Risky pick.
And I hate it west to east. I don't feel good about this pick.
All right, here's a game I don't care about. Bucks Bears in Tampa. Bucks are 2.5-point favorites. You're up.
Bears win and cover. Money line pick of the week.
I like it. I'm going to go with it too. Chiefs, Jags in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Chiefs are 3.5-point favorites. I think we got a bounce back game. Now that was a very hard fought playoff game in Kansas City. Let's not forget Drew Henne had like a 99-yard drive. This is when Mahomes
Do we have
got his
Kelce back or no Kelce still?
I don't know. It's a good question. I'm not sure.
Kind of a factor. But it sounds like you're taking the Chiefs either way.
I'm gonna take the Chiefs either way.
And I'll take the Jags. Field goal at the buzzer. Chiefs win. Don't cover.
All right, Colts, Texans. There's an interesting spread too. Houston's a
Chris
point and a half.
Jones and Travis Kelce are back at
Okay.
Kansas City Chiefs practice.
You can change your pick then if you want.
No, I'm going to stick with it.
Okay. Colts, Texans in Houston. You're up. Colts are 1.5-point underdogs. So Houston's the favorite. Yeah.
All right, I'll take the Colts.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Colts too.
All right, Anthony Richardson out?
I don't think so. Is he?
I don't know. I'm gonna say Colts then. I don't know what. Texans didn't show me anything last week.
No. All right, 4:00 games. Niners, Rams in LA. Niners will basically have home field advantage here. It'll be 50-50 at least. We all know McVay just. When's the last time he beat Shanahan?
The NFC Championship game?
Yeah. All right, Rams are 7.5 dogs.
Ooh, big.
I'm taking the Rams.
Wow. All right, I'm gonna take the Niners then.
Big spread, man.
Big
Division
spread.
Game.
Big spread.
Game. I mean,
Big spread.
I know the crowd's gonna be. It's still in LA, man.
Do you what's? I'm going to take the Niners just because I believe in the Niners. I'm not really basing this at all on anything I feel about the Rams. What do we think about the Rams? Like, what does this Rams season look like to you?
I don't know. I was shocked they won the first game.
This is kind of like not win
or
lose.
If they stay in this game.
If they stay in this game, I'm like, okay, we might have a fucking Rams like team worth watching.
Yeah.
It's nice to see Stafford back and playing well.
And I also think Sean McVay's motivated. He heard all the noise.
Yeah.
I think he's ready.
I think one thing about this Niners team is I think that if this is like a kind of, I think they're going to be stepping on the neck of a Rams team because there's just divisional bad blood there. I'm sort of on the Niners are the best team in football until I see otherwise campaign.
Okay. Yeah, I don't hate that. All right, your boys. Giants in Arizona. 4.5-point favorites. You're up.
I think the Giants cover. I think that the Giants need to cover. I'll tell you what, if this spread is in question late in the game, the Giants' year is over. I know I'm a delusional Giants homer. But I'm not even talking about if the Giants win this game. I am not on this. I'm not on the Giants are 1-1. Wins are wins and losses are losses. A 40-point Cowboys loss is the same thing as a 1-point Cowboys loss. A 1-point Arizona win is the same as a 40-point Arizona win. I disagree. If the Giants are 1-1 after this and it's fucking close, I think their season's over because I'm already chalking up that they'll be 1-2 after Thursday night in San Francisco. So I think that I don't have a week one overreaction because I think that that's dumb. But I also think you need to show me that it meant something to you to get blown out. You need to show me that you have the ability we're not as bad. Like, you need to come out and say, we're not as bad as we looked. We also can beat the shit out of bad teams. And I think that they cover at least.
I'm going to say they don't cover. I'm going to take the Cardinals.
I love it. I love that I might sneak a point there on the Andy Ruther week 1 overreaction.
I don't think it's an overreaction. I don't know. I think I was maybe reckless in my preseason picks, and now,
Well, I think what you were reckless on, you were ready to.
I was reckless on the Cowboys,
right?
Which is our next game. Cowboys are 9-point favorites.
Who are they playing? The Jets.
The Jets.
No, I'll take the Jets.
I'm taking the Jets too. I mean, it's in Dallas, but I don't really care. I just think that, again, the Jets have a good defense, man. 9's a lot when you have two teams with good defenses. So you're like,
right.
This is going to be a shootout. All right, Commanders, Broncos.
Also, listen, you're obviously not doing it, but you're obviously like this whole idea. This is, again, the week 1 overreaction. I saw somebody the other day say the 3 best teams are in the NFC. The Niners, the Cowboys, and the Eagles.
That's not a good take.
I love that we have a dozen years of Mike McCarthy. And everybody's like, Cowboys are one of the best teams in football. Okay.
Yeah, I'm riding the Jets on this one for sure, to cover at least. All right, Commanders, Broncos. Man, this is a tough one. It's in Denver. Denver's 3.5-point favorites. Dude, I just like, I'm taking the Commanders. They look like shit, but I'm just like, dude, give me something. You scored 17 points at home.
I lost a point last week. You took the Raiders, and I took Russ.
So you can agree with me and take the Commanders?
No, I'm going to double down.
Oh, Mr. Unlimited.
Mr. Unlimited points lost on the Broncos this year. Unlimited. I need to get back to 500 so then I can start picking against them.
All right. Risky move there. All right, your Sunday night games, Dolphins, Patriots in Foxborough. Miami's 3-point favorites. Is this your, hey, the Miami comes down to earth a little?
Yep. Take the Patriots to win the game.
Oh, wow.
I think the Patriots win the game.
Okay. I am going to...
This is the other week one overreaction is we went into week 1. I think the whole world that isn't a Dolphins fan had the Dolphins as the 3rd best team in the division. And 1 week overreaction. Justin Herbert has his team in the 4 years he's been there has given up more points than any team in the history of 4 years of the franchise. Be like, the Dolphins are really good.
Well, they did, but again, I
just know really good. Yeah. Here's a fun fact. In the last 4 years, everybody that plays the fucking Chargers looks really good on offense. And now everybody's like, Dolphins are going to run away with the East.
Yeah, well, I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to take the Patriots. We have a doubleheader for Monday night. I don't remember why they're doing this.
I think this is a September 11th thing after all. I think they wanted New York as the only thing. By the way, the NFC East plays the AFC East this year. Why didn't they just do Jets Giants on September 11th to open the year?
Yeah, it would have made sense.
And the Giants defense didn't get to Dak Prescott at all, so Aaron Rodgers might still be alive. Conspiracy theories.
So we have Saints-Panthers in the first game. Saints are 3-point favorites. It's in Carolina.
I don't care if it's in Baghdad. I'm taking the Saints.
All right, I'm gonna take the Saints too. Bryce Young, I don't know, man.
I'm not out on Bryce Young, but I didn't love how he looked in the preseason. I didn't watch any preseason games except for the one he played against the Giants, but I did see some.
He had some reckless throws last week. I know it's week 1, dude, but it's just like reckless throws. Like, what are you doing, man?
I think he's good. I think he has potential of being good, but I don't think this is the year where we're going to see it. This is going to be his Trevor Lawrence year 1.
Gotcha. All right, so we both agree. Saints, Browns, Steelers in Cleveland. Or I'm sorry, in Pittsburgh. Wow, they're riding high on that Browns home win. The Browns are 2.5 road dogs or road faves in Pittsburgh. I'm up. Tough one. I'm gonna take Pittsburgh. Cleveland gonna start 2-0.
Hold on, I'm pulling something up right now because I got to see.
And the Steelers are gonna start 0-2. It's kind of what we're banking on if we go that route. If you say Cleveland isn't gonna cover,
I'll take the Steelers as well.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I'm in a pick 'em like confidence pool.
Sure.
And I felt really good. You know sometimes where you look at your picks and you just you do them all in like fast speed and you feel really good about it. I felt really good. I felt like that blink confidence. And yeah, I got the Steelers. So I was just double checking that because I remember I felt real good about it. So
that's week 2.
Steelers money line. Who's my other money line? Patriots money line, dog. Steelers money line, dog. And there's one other I had in there.
I forget. I've already turned that screen off. Forever. All right, that's week 2. Long show. My computer's about to die, so we kind of have to wrap this up.
All right.
My cord's upstairs.
Peace out. I'm in Toronto. Stay on my social media. Stay in my DMs. There's I would say a 50-50 shot that I hop on a show or two while I'm here in Toronto. So if you're a Canadian dirtball or a just over the border dirtball, stay on my social media at Joe Praino, all the places. At the Dirty Sports, all the places. We've been putting up clips. Let's check them out. I got shows coming up. I'll be in New York at the end of the month. I'll be doing Empire City Casino on the 29th. Definitely will be jumping on other shows in and around New York City while I'm there for a week. And then it's Comedy Key West, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I believe that's October 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. Giants at Dolphins. That's going to be 100-0 Dolphins game. In Miami that Sunday. Vegas last week of October into first week of November at Brad Garrett's Comedy Club. I'll be in Alaska. Sounds like Pizza Starro might be making the trip with me. So come see me in Alaska. Going to be doing Anchorage and some other cities while we're there. That's mid-November. And then, of course, 1000th episode of the Dirty Sports Podcast in New Orleans, followed by 2 Joe Praino shows, followed by Giants at Saints. Fight for a wild card spot. Nah, Saints will be cruising into the NFC North Championship at that point. NFC South, sorry.
It was like the North. This will be interesting.
I mean, yeah.
All right, guys. You can give us a ring at 310-359-8365. Like Joe said, we're on all social at The Dirty Sports. So thanks for tuning in. We'll be back on Monday. Have a great weekend. And as always, stay dirty.